Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this Saturday we have Project Starship, a bizarre procedurally generated shoot 'em up. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. From developer Panda Indie Studios and publisher East Asia Soft, Project Starship released in mid-February for the Nintendo Switch, the PC, the Xbox One, and the PlayStation 4. So today we're looking at the Nintendo Switch release of that, and right off the bat, this is one that I can say, especially if you're looking for a short, bizarre shoot 'em up experience, this is one that I can recommend, especially at the low price point it has. Diving into the gameplay, first you're taken to this character select screen where you can choose between Garrett and Gwen. They're functionally identical as far as the way they play, it's just which avatar you'd want to pick. Also, the color of the ship is different, blue or red. Then you're taken to the difficulty selection, easy or hard. Of course, we'll play on easy today, so it's a little bit easier to cover the gameplay. Unless you're looking for a hard experience right off the bat, avoid picking up that H power-up. It basically sets you into hardcore mode, where it takes away all your shields, basically your hits, and, well, it's just a very difficult way to start off the gameplay. So, in this vertical scrolling bullet hell, we're actually relatively limited as far as our abilities are concerned. We have the ability to shoot, and we also have the ability to slow things down. Not just our movement, but also the enemies, and more importantly, the enemy shots. We also have the ability to use items, but we have to pick up those items first, and they're definitely bizarre items to be sure. Speaking of bizarre, that was kind of a bizarre enemy. In fact, a lot of this game is just weird. So you're facing, basically we're off to challenge and defeat this ancient evil. So we've got enemies that are kind of appropriate to that type of a quest. So we're fighting all these demons that are shaped like eyes or other sorts of like monstrous or demon-like creatures. And throughout the course of the game, we're going to encounter all these weird, different, well, procedural events. So that first one there was a mad event. We happened to that one was a relatively easy one where we just had to dodge those giant blobs. And afterwards, we got a power-up, which changed the look of our ship. And that's part of the fun. A lot of those power-ups that we'll get throughout the course of the gameplay can make differences, like changing up our ship or giving us different shots, powers, that sort of thing. In addition to some weird power-ups, we also have more mundane ones, like those S's I picked up increased our number of shields, which are displayed along the bottom in those battery-like icons. So the more shields you have, the more hits you can take. So here we find ourselves fighting our first boss. Already we're actually pretty decently powerful and are able to quickly melt his health bar. The bosses have all, let's say for the final boss, have 3 health bars that we have to go through. Actually, maybe that one only had 2, so I might be off about that one. Moving on to our second stage, we might encounter even more complete weirdness. Right now it's just a whole bunch of asteroids, but our shots do kind of like home a little bit, and the missiles we fire definitely do. So that's basically it. Project Starship served up for your enjoyment. It's weird. As far as the minus flavors are concerned, one minus flavor I can give it is it's a really short title. So it's only 4 stages long, and then you're at the final boss. But each playthrough isn't going to be the same as any other playthrough you have, as it is procedurally generated. So basically what I mean by that is the game always kind of has like a certain set pattern to it, but the enemies you encounter, the bosses you fight, the items you pick up are going to be different every single time you move through. And there's also fun ones like this TV that doesn't work, which basically acts as a screen clearing bomb, but it has this side effect as well, that it just covers the entire screen in static, making it hard for you to see what's actually going on. Then we also have the problem with the game being extremely busy visually. Depending on, I probably actually should have mentioned it earlier, but depending on how sensitive you might be to flashing lights, this might definitely be a title you would want to avoid. But for plus flavors, this is just bizarre fun, like picking up that kind of a power-up by the power of Cthulhu. Yes, we're now fighting these monstrous aliens with the power of Cthulhu. Maybe not the best idea to depend on the power of an elder god, but who's to say? So at any rate, Project Starship. This is definitely one that I can recommend just because of how weird and honestly just like fun and cute it is. So there we have it. That'll just about wrap it up for this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, I want to thank you so much for coming out and joining me this week, and I encourage you to join me next week.